In this video, I will walk you through a step-by-step process to retrieve used data connectors from Power Automate flows and Power Apps across all environments. In part 1, we will create a SharePoint list to catalog all of the connectors. In part 2, we will set up another SharePoint list to document all the flows and the associated connectors. In part 3, we will establish a SharePoint list for Power Apps to identify the connectors linked to each app. I'm still finalizing the solution. Once part 3 is ready, I will provide a link to the complete solution in the description below. If you're having trouble identifying which data connectors are currently in use, this video will guide you through the necessary steps to enhance your security measures. This solution is perfect for tenants who haven't installed the Center of Excellence or are not ready to do so yet. If you already have the Center of Excellence, this is already in that packaged solution. I highly recommend installing the Center of Excellence Starter Kit. Let's get started. The first step in creating a SharePoint list of all the connectors is to ensure that you have the Power of Platform admin role. Additionally, make sure that the Power Apps for admin, Power Apps for makers, Power Automate for admin, Power Automate management connectors are enabled and ready to use in the designated environment. Navigate to the Power Platform Admin Center, select Policies and Data Policies, and ensure that the necessary connectors are not blocked in the environment where you plan to import the solution. You may also need to assign yourself the System Administrator role in all environments to ensure the connectors are working correctly. Now that you have confirmed the data connectors are available, it is time to move on to step 2, creating the data connector list. Before we create the SharePoint list, we need to select the site collection where we want to create the list in the Get Data Connector Site environment variable. Then open the Create SPO List flow. If you wish to rename the data connector list, you can do so in the Compose action. I recommend choosing a name without spaces for a cleaner internal list name. Once you have created the data connector list, it is time to move on to step 3, adding data connectors to the list. In the solution, you will find an environment variable for the connectors list. Select the list you have created and then save your changes. In the Create Connector Items flow, there is a constant from parse.json action containing the items needed to run the workflow. Please enter your default environment ID there. In the Get Connector Details scope, we will use a list connector action for the default environment, and then choose the title, the icon URI, the icon brand color, tier as in this is a standard connector or a premium connector, publisher, connector ID, release tag as in production or in preview, the description, and also if the connector is a custom API or a standard one. In the Special Connectors Compose action, I have manually added the HTTP connectors that were not included in the List Connectors action. That action displays the connectors that creates a connection reference, whereas HTTP request calls does not require a connection reference. Next, I use a union function to combine the original connectors and the special connectors into one array. The subsequential select action will display the connector IDs only. In the Find Connector from Other Environment scope, I use Get Environment to list all environments. For each environment, I listed the connectors and filter out default environment connectors using the connector ID array. If any connectors were found, I appended them to the connector temp variable as a string. Then I retrieved the custom connectors as admin, and if any was found, append them to the custom connectors variable as a string. After the for each action, I'll convert the items in the custom connectors variable into a JSON format, flatten out the nested array into one single array, and then select the necessary objects for the SharePoint list. Then I'll repeat this process for the connector temps variable. This will give us arrays for the connector in the default environment, custom connectors, and the connectors not in the default environment. Then we'll unite all the arrays using the union function. Finally, we'll count the number of items in this array. In the Create Item scope, I have a template for the batch call to create items in SharePoint. In the Select action, the input will be the array of all connectors, and then the mapping will replace all placeholders in the template. Then I will use a Compose action to chunk the items from the previous action. For each chunk of the item, batch create the connectors in the connectors list. In just a few steps, you can create a SharePoint list with all the connectors. And there you have it. I hope this video is helpful. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell icon to follow for more updates.